guys, my name is Lacey of Spookulous and Fat Hips, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're bringing it back to one of my absolute favorite moments on YouTube, and that was my first collab with Georgia Harris, because now I'm going to be collabing again with my best friend here on YouTube, Georgia Harris. Did I say that? Georgia, I'm collabing with Georgia. Again, we're collabing again. Today, Georgia and I are going to be talking to you guys about our favorite eyeshadows out of various different eyeshadow palettes, because I know specifically on my channel, I talk a lot about just eyeshadow palettes as a whole, but you know that feeling when you open up a palette and there's like one color that your eye goes to immediately? Like there's a special color in every single palette. But before I get to what my favorite eyeshadows are, I just want to take a minute to like gush and like swoon over Georgia for a second. So I'm like being 1000% honest when I say that like Georgia is my bestie. She's, you know, my half cousin, my good Judy. Georgia was the first person who ever like cared about me as a YouTuber. Like, you know what I mean? Like, she was a bigger YouTuber who kind of like took me under her wing and like genuinely liked my content and like wanted to work with me like when our first collab. And to this day, I can't believe that, because she's one of the reasons why I wanted to start my channel to begin with. When I first decided to make a YouTube channel, I had made a post on Instagram like tagging all of the channels that had inspired me to do so. And Georgia was one of them, and Georgia actually took the time out of her life to like look at my stuff and like give me the time of day and like it. And through like collabing and chatting and deciding that we like to do live streams together and like creating the podcast, like we've created just the best friendship. We talk every single day. I love her so much. And I just like, what more can I say? You know how it goes when you like care about a person so much and you're like, look at my wonderful best friend. Aren't they the best? Aren't they so like shiny and awesome and everything they do is amazing? You know how it gets. Like I referenced earlier, me and Georgia do a weekly podcast every Sunday where we live stream together, and very often, most weeks, we have a third YouTuber come on and talk about various topics with us. It ranges from super silly to super serious to YouTube related things, makeup, all of the above, just all kinds of stuff. And I think it's fun. So beyond just that, because that is kind of like our word vomit every weekend, it's nice to just do another sit down organized collab. Thank you, Georgia, so much for once again wanting to collab with me, for being my friend, for making me actually like YouTube, because yeah, it's fun to get on camera and like give your opinions, but the best part of YouTube, in my opinion, truthfully, has been the friendships I've made, the community that I've built. I've had someone say to us that like our individual like joint community is the best community that they've found on YouTube, and I totally agree. I love you guys so much. I don't think I would have that without Georgia and without our audiences kind of blending together, so I'm just so appreciative of her even like giving me attention to begin with at any point during my YouTube journey, and I love her so much. Georgia, I love you. If you haven't checked out her channel, obviously it's linked down below. She does a similar content to what I do, but also very different things. She does a lot of creating her own palettes, depotting things, tutorials. I suck at tutorials. But she also does these more like talky kind of videos, so I definitely think if you like my channel and you haven't checked out Georgia's yet, you should, because you'll definitely like her. But yeah, gushing aside, thank you, Georgia, for wanting to collab with me. I think I already said that. Moving on to eyeshadows. So like I've referenced earlier before I went on the Love Fest, I talk about eyeshadow palettes every other video, basically, on this channel. It's become the thing I'm oddly known for, and I love eyeshadows. They're my favorite part of makeup. It's my favorite part of actually like sitting to do my makeup. It's the thing I spend the longest on. It's the thing that I care the most about. I could give a crap about foundations, bronzers, brow products. It's eyeshadows. They are my bread and butter. So what is it about specific eyeshadows out of various different palettes that might have the most beautiful color story, but there's just the one color that speaks to me the most? I have a bunch of those to share with you today. I'm also very interested to see what all of the colors look like together, so I'm going to be swatching. I'm not swatching so much to like review the formula, because that's not what this is. I do a lot of product reviews on this channel, and if you want me to individually review any of these products, if I have not already, let me know, but that's not what this is. This is me strictly just talking about colors and what it is about these specific colors that draws me in and that I love so much. We're just gonna grab a palette and get started. So when I was picking palettes to pull out of my collection for this video, my mind immediately went to a lot of individual palettes, because there are a lot of palettes where, while the overall palette is stunning and beautiful, there is that one color that just draws me in every time. One of the first ones that I thought of was the Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's one of those debated names, like do you pronounce it Anastasia Beverly Hills, Anastasia Beverly Hills, and ABH. The Prism palette, a lot of people had mixed feelings about this. A lot of people didn't like this. I personally love this palette a lot, the same way that I love Subculture in a way that a lot of people did not. My favorite color immediately out of this palette, which I love basically all of these colors, like it's very hard to pick between Sphere and this purple right next to it, and even Saturn underneath, but really my eye immediately, ooh, even Dimension's a great color, my eye immediately goes to this foresty green Throne shade. I love foresty greens, and I actually, because I was picking this palette to talk about foresty greens, this is such a nice formula by the way, because I picked this palette to talk about for its foresty green, I had to put a lot of other palettes back that equally had foresty greens that I loved. So we're going to see, I'm going to see if I can swatch these. I am going to build up swatches a little bit because like I said earlier, I do want the overall color story of all of my favorites to be shown. So yeah, this is number one. It's a very blackened green, foresty green Throne. I just realized I'm gonna be needing makeup wipes for my swatched fingers. The next palette that came to mind immediately, and you guys have heard me talk about this palette so much, this is the Xuri Cosmetics Xuri palette, and I perfectly named is the color Xuri from the Xuri palette. To me, this is one of the best blue eyeshadows ever. It's very warm tone for a blue. It goes with all of these other warm tones very, very nicely, and it's just a great blue. And it's very pigmented. It's a very pigmented shadow. While I will not say how many eyeshadow palettes I actually own, I will say that I tried to limit myself to about 20 eyeshadow palettes in this entire video because I think 20 colors will make a fun color story, so we're going to see where this goes. Another favorite that I've definitely talked about, the Saharan by Juvia's Place. Again, has another foresty green that I am immediately drawn to. I also really love this like reddish orange color, but really, I'm not going to butcher any of these names by the way because I can't speak English well, let alone anything else. But this like dirty gold color, I don't know how else to explain it other than that. It almost has the slightest green undertone. I love this color so much. Anytime a palette has anything even remotely like this in it, I always gravitate to that color like first. I don't know, I can already feel like a little bit of a color story going on, but we'll see what happens when I pull from the rest of these palettes. This is a palette that I haven't talked about yet on my channel, but I plan to because I would like to do a whole video dedicated to Natasha Denona and whether or not I think she's worth it or her eyeshadows are worth it for the price. This is the Lila palette. It's gorgeous. It's all purples. I love a purple eyeshadow. I tend to like waft in between like loving green eyeshadows, loving blue eyeshadows, loving purple eyeshadows, loving pink eyeshadows, and then like repeat. Currently I feel like I'm in a pink phase, even though I have red on my eyes today. I really am loving red lately too. But I love this as a purple and pink lover, but specifically the shade that I love the most is this. Do they have shade names on the back? Oh wait, duh. Has shade names underneath it. Dragon Bite. Dragon Bite is a beautiful duochrome. It's like a green purple berry duochrome. It's very unique and I have nothing like this in my collection. Unfortunately, swatching it, I feel like you're not getting the green that I love so much in it. Also, oh, the weird swatching arm has already begun. I need to be more careful. Yeah, it's a shame that you can't pick up the duochromeness in the swatch because when you build this up over the eye, especially over a sticky base, and you get that shift in the colors, it's so beautiful and so unique. I know there's a lot of blue browns in the world. This isn't like that. This is like a berry green and it's so gorgeous. Another palette that I've recently talked about, and I've also, I think, mentioned that specifically, and as beautiful as a palette as this is the Aurora Lights BH Cosmetic Baked Eyeshadow Palette. My eye immediately when I opened this palette went to this color, Phenomenon, which is like the least colorful eyeshadow in this entire palette. But again, it's a very pretty brassy color. And again, it almost kind of has a green undertone to it, so I don't know what it is with me and things that are slightly green. Is my swatching getting better? Not at all. Not even a little bit. Lacey, come on. we're gonna roll with it. Again, beautiful palette. I have talked about this a little bit in a haul. I'll link that up here if you're interested in hearing more thoughts other than, hey, the colors are beautiful. We're not talking about reviews today here, we're talking about colors. Jumping to something that I've talked about on my Instagram that I bought, and I am planning a review for this and its companion palette. This is the Archeo palette from Clionadh Cosmetics. I hope I'm pronouncing their name right. I believe it's Clionadh. I love everything about this palette. Color story wise, this is one of my favorite color stories that I own, but my eye immediately goes to this purple. And I should have grabbed the eyeshadow sheet. Hold on. Pause. While the palette itself doesn't have the shadow names listed on it, it does come with a helpful guide with all the shades on it. Plus, bonus, my friend here on YouTube, Angelica, did all the eye looks for this palette. I'll talk more about that when I do the dedicated review. So according to this is the shade Glyph, and it is a duochrome. It's a very, very beautiful, I've got too much stuff in my hands. It's a very, very beautiful purpley pink duochrome, and it feels so soft when you touch it. Oh, okay. Let's see if I can get better at these swatches. Trying my best here, people. So, ironically, also, all of my favorite colors have been foils so far, probably because I feel like you do get a very intense color in a foiled shadow. It's only fair to talk about the original Clionadh Cosmetics palette that had everyone losing their minds, so I'm going to talk about Archeo. This is the Paleo palette, as I said, also from Clionadh Cosmetics. Again, I will be reviewing this palette along with the Archeo palette in a standalone video, but for right now, this blue, Arctic Waters, oh my gosh. I love a lot of blue eyeshadows, but that, again, one of the most beautiful color stories that I've ever seen in a palette. Okay, we're getting a little bit better on these swatches, but this is just, whew. Jumping back to a palette that I've definitely talked about before, but not like in the sense of a review. This is the Voss Like a Boss palette. I brought this palette up in a video I did with Angelica talking about if I could change one thing in an eyeshadow palette and how I wish there was more greens in this. I will say, I do love the greens, and I do love greens mixed with reds. My eye immediately, again, kind of like a dirty brassy gold, this adulting shade right here, which I will say I hate all of the names in this Violet Voss palette. I think they're so obnoxious. Sorry if you think they're cool. But yeah, this adulting shade, it just looks like a beautifully dirty antique, and I love that. I love metallic shades, like metal tone shades that look aged. You know, like aged metal, like you would find like a tarnished pot or something. I don't know. Does that make sense? Has anyone ever seen like the infomercial for the rainbow sponge when she's like, oh, heavy breathing, because she's so excited about what she's doing? That's fully me swatching these eyeshadows right now. Heavy breathing. Another palette that I'm saving for a standalone review because, like Natasha and Denona, I want to do a whole video just dedicated to Storybook Cosmetics. This is the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory palette from Storybook Cosmetics. It's so cute. You open it up and you get a golden ticket. Oh my god. A really fun, unique color story, and at first I wasn't sold on this. Now I'm really glad I have this, but again, not a review, Lacey. Okay, this is my first matte shade that I'm going to be talking about. This is the shade Snozberries, which is this like orangey red. Not unlike the orangey red that I passed along in the one Juvia's Place palette that I just mentioned, but really pretty. I don't know if this color story makes any sense right now, but we're getting somewhere. I have two other BH palettes that came to mind actually when I was thinking about favorite colors. So this is the Club Tropicana 28 color foiled eyeshadow palette from BH Cosmetics. I think they still sell this. I'm not sure. I really love the foiled eyes palettes from BH. You get basically, as the name suggests, 28 beautiful metallic eyeshadows for a very affordable price. BH is always on sale. Of course, my eye just goes to this amazing lime green. I love this green. I call this green Maddie green because it's my boyfriend Matt's favorite color, and if you've ever seen my living space, half of our shit is this color. But it's just, I always love this color, partially because it does remind me of him. So if that's sentimental and gross to you, I apologize. I feel like we had a theme. Now I don't know where it's going. The other BH Cosmetics palette is the BH Zodiac palette. This palette I feel like got mixed reviews, but I really love this palette. In fact, like the second I pulled it out of the box when it came in the mail, I like was swatching on myself. I like ran and was like, swatching on my brother's girlfriend because I was just like, look, you have to look at these shadows because I love the baked formula of these so much. And of course, there is another foresty green that my eye goes to immediately, and there's also this gorgeous blue. But my favorite shade, and it's been my favorite shade since day one, is the shade Aquarius right here, which is an amazing duochrome red-green, but a much different duochrome green than the one in the Natasha Denona palette. This one is a lot warmer. I didn't even plan that, but this one goes with these last two shades very well. Jumping forward, picking up another very expensive palette. This is another one that I've put to the side because I do want to talk about Viseart in a separate standalone video and whether or not I think Viseart is worth the money or not to buy, similar to Natasha Denona. This is the Grande Pro Volume 1 palette, and this palette is ridiculously expensive. But my eye goes immediately to this row in this palette, but specifically this purple. And it is going to take me a second to build this up in a way that looks nice because these shadows, Viseart shadows, swatch like crap, but they are really wonderful to work with. Whether or not I think they're worth the money, we're going to save for another video, but like I said, this row is beautiful, but this purple specifically, oh my gosh. I just totally got eyeshadow on my face. You know, I try my best to get the eyeshadow off my face, but if it's still there, I'm just going to accept that this is me now. This is the price I pay when I'm this passionate about owning so much damn eyeshadow. This is the palette that I got more recently. And I actually got this with my Ulta 20% off coupon that went around earlier in the summer. This is the Ofra Bright Addiction eyeshadow palette. Actually, all of these are Ofra except for this one. This is a Saucebox eyeshadow in the bottom just because I wanted a white in this palette. My eye in any Brights palette automatically goes to the pink. While I love all of these colors right here, I think this is a beautiful color story. Well, a very pricey palette though. I always go to the pink. I always go to the pink, and this palette is no exception. Jumping back to Juvia's Place, the Magic palette. I was tempted to grab a shade from the Masquerade palette, but I feel like that is everyone's favorite Juvia's Place palette. The Magic palette is equally as good in my opinion. Another palette with just so many great shades, many of which I've already kind of shown that I love in the various course of this video. I wonder if you can guess which one's my favorite though. If you guessed this yellow, you'd be right. Definitely very similar to the one in the Saharan palette, except this one I would say it's a little bit more yellow. Definitely actually swatching them like this, I can definitely see for sure that this one's more yellow, so that's interesting. Colourpop My Little Pony, I said that this was my favorite Colourpop eyeshadow palette. I stand by that. I do think they're discontinuing it though. Oh well. My favorite shade, again, another foresty green though. Some purples. I'm sensing a trend in the palettes I like. My eye immediately goes to this mossy, like, sagey green. I don't have a lot of eyeshadows that even remotely look like this, I gotta be honest. So I will say close contender for my favorite was this deep darkened purple right next to it. Oh, can you see it? This is absurd. What happened to this swatch over here? This is absurd. Closing in on the last 5. Got 5 more eyeshadow palettes left. This is a palette that a lot of people hated, but I really loved. But again, I think I loved it for a reason I mentioned earlier. This is the Butter London and Pantone Color of the Year palette. I forget what year this actually was. It might have been last year where the color of the year was Greenery, which again is that lime matte green as I so affectionately called it. I really love this palette. I love the cool tones paired with this green. I think it works so well. Running out of arm space! And my elbow's all red from leaning on my desk. Fuck! Dose of Colors Ice Cream palette. Again, another kind of underrated palette in my opinion. Maybe not. I really love this color story and this palette and this formula. Never really hear anyone talking about it. Was very close to picking this lavender color, but this mint chip color, this minty green. Doing this video put into perspective how much I actually love green eyeshadows and various tones of green eyeshadow. We're really cutting it close here. This Pantone shade is almost like the matte version of this other green shade I have right here. I don't know. Can you guys see all of these colors? Does this make a cohesive color story? Does it? The Malika palette from Blush Tribe. Again, just things on my to-do list. I want to do a whole video dedicated to Blush Tribe because I do have 3 of their palettes right now. Waiting on the 4th, but I don't think I'm getting the 4th till August, so I'm just going to focus on the first 3. There is a color specifically in this palette that I love more than any other color. I promise I'm trying not to butcher this name. This color right here, Shazia. It's just a really beautiful berry tone, and I'm not saying that I don't have berries in my collection. I definitely have a lot of berries in my collection, but there's something so just nice about this one. It has just the perfect amount of purple and red undertones to it that you could use it in a very purpley look, a very pink look, a very red look, and it'll complement any of those colors very well. And I just really like not only this entire color story, but like I said, this color in particular. And I think I've officially run out of room. Nope, we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna make it work. We're doing it. Too Faced Chocolate Bonbons. This was one of my first Too Faced palettes, and I really love this palette a lot. My eye immediately goes to this pink, and I know I've already put a hot pink in this, but I love that this pink is like a blue based pink, and I love, one of my favorite things to do when I first started getting into colorful eyeshadow was to do just a normal neutral, almost cool tone neutral look on the top of my eyes, and then run this pink shade on the lower lash line, and then have a lip shade that basically perfectly matched it. I used to love doing that specific look all the time. I love that the name of this is Totally Fetch too. I think that's adorable. I had to move back to the front. That's about as best I'm going to get with that. And then finally, a shocking palette that I actually really like. This is the Naughty palette by Kylie Jenner, aka Kylie Cosmetics. One of my first videos ever was a video about why I wasn't going to shop from Kylie Cosmetics ever again, which I stand by that video. I still haven't bought anything since that holiday release. But I got her Naughty Nice palettes from last holiday, and I do like both those palettes. A lot of beauty gurus absolutely hated those palettes, but I think this is such a beautiful color story. I know that Shop Hush or whatever does like exact dupes of both of those palettes, whatever, but I do... Someone just broke a glass. My eye goes to this purple, this cranberry shade, even this like terracotta color, but honestly it's this pine tree, Christmas tree rather, Naughty Nice, this foresty green. I really didn't realize that a lot of my matte shades had shimmery shade counterparts. Interesting. That one swatched like absolute crap, but you know, it's not about the quality of the shadows, it's about the colors here. Let's see, my goal was 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 eyeshadows! And here they are. This is my very... I have to stand up for this. This is my color story. This is cohesive. Does this make sense? Does this say anything about me? I don't know. Do you think that these colors represent me as a person? That's an interesting color to ask. This is interesting. I really thought sitting down to pick out my favorite eyeshadows that there would be more blues, because I've said time and time again how much I love blue eyeshadows, and a lot of you guys have picked up on that and have started tagging me in blue eyeshadows when they're in different palettes and stuff. Really, the amount of greens that I put in this is kind of impressive on top of the whole like yellowy, nasty gold colors that I love so much. If this is a color story that represents me, I'm okay with it. I'm also really interested to see what Georgia's color story looks like of all of her colors. I wonder how different we actually are when it comes to what colors we like. Actually, out of all of these colors though, so I wasn't planning on doing this, but out of all of just these colors laid out, this purple shade from the Archeo palette from Clionadh Cosmetics, this is the winner. This one right here, Glyph I think I said it was called, that's it. She wins. She's my favorite eyeshadow color out of my favorite eyeshadow colors. So, way to go, Clionadh Cosmetics. That's kind of fun to discover about me, actually. So, even in a sea of greens, though, a purple triumphed. A purple one in a sea of greens. This has been a fascinating experiment, actually, if I do say so myself. I wish I was one of those, like, YouTubers with a huge collection of singles that could, like, pop all of these in a palette and see what happens. I don't have a lot of singles. The singles I have are the singles that Georgia has sent me and like my friend Jenna has sent me. I'm not a collector of single eyeshadows. But overall, what do you guys think of this color story? What do you guys think of my favorite picks? What are your favorite picks? Definitely tell me down below what your favorite individual eyeshadows are, but out of bigger palettes. Because, again, a world of single eyeshadows exists in the world, but this was about, like, beautiful palettes. What's the most beautiful of them all? Definitely let me know down below what you think. Alright, well, that was long and I have makeup all over me. Thank you again, Georgia, so much for asking me to do this video with you. I never would have thought to do a video like this before. It definitely, I've said this like 1,000 times now, but I'm kind of shocked at what all my picks were. Thought there would be more blues for sure. I didn't think there'd be this many greens. I also didn't think overall my story would be this like tutti fruity colorful. That's a little surprising. What are your favorite eyeshadow shades that you gravitate towards? Please let me know down below. I love you, Georgia. Thank you for having me. I'm going to say that one more time. If you like this video, if you like eyeshadows, if you like me, hit like and subscribe. I talk about eyeshadows a shit ton on this channel. To catch me when I'm not on YouTube, definitely follow me on Instagram because I talk about new makeup releases, talk about what makeup I'm buying, what makeup I'm reviewing, etc. I like don't want to wipe this away because it's so pretty. But I'm already making a mess. And clearly someone behind me is too. Breaking dishes behind me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Chat with me down below. And I will see you in the next one. Bye guys!